Solemnity of the Ascension is celebrated this year on May the 14th in Jerusalem. On the Mount of Olives, the Franciscans celebrated a solemn Mass. We tell you the story of the miracles that led to the canonization of the two Arab saints, Mary Alphonsine Ghattas and Mariam Bawardi. For the Exposition of the Shroud in Turin, the custody has sent some objects from its own museum. In Jerusalem, there is a permanent exhibition dedicated to the Shroud. An agreement between a scientist and the University of Bethlehem has led to the creation of a natural history museum in Palestine. In Jerusalem, a bus service opens on the Sabbath, the day of total rest. The Shabbat transports those who don't have their own means of transportation. Under a cloudy sky, Jerusalem is celebrating the Solemnity of the Ascension on Thursday, 40 days after Easter. After a night of vigil around the shrine on the Mount of Olives, the Franciscan Friars Minor celebrate the Mass on the morning of Thursday, May the 14th. Father Dobromir Jastal, the vicar of the custody of the Holy Land, presides over the Eucharist. We always look to heaven with trust, but we cannot stand by and look at the sky. You have to look around and see especially what is happening around us, and see so many tragedies that are now a part of our lives, and that are a part of the society that lives here in this country and in other countries.
Fanno parte della società che vive qui in questo paese e in altri paesi.
A striking and out-of-the-ordinary celebration is held at the place that tradition links to the last meeting between Jesus and the Apostles before ascending to heaven.
Questo luogo ha condiviso le sorti di tanti altri luoghi durante le invasioni.
This place shared the fate of many other places during the invasions and conquests, so today it is in the possession of the Muslim community, but Christians have the right to celebrate the liturgies here.
Però I cristiani hanno sempre il diritto di celebrare qui le liturgie.
Those who believe and are baptized will speak with new tongues, said Jesus to the 11 in the passage of Mark's Gospel that is proclaimed by the deacon in Latin. In his homily, Father Jastal hopes that we can speak the new language of the Gospel in order to achieve communion and true joy.
Ispira a coloro che governano le nazioni sentimenti di pace. ساعد كنيستك التي أوكلتها رسالة إعلان الإنجيل.
Las riquezas de la gloria que nos das en heredad.
And there are many languages and nationalities of Christians who are praying together in Jerusalem this year for the Solemnity of the Ascension.
أنا اسمي توفيق حبش أنا فلسطيني مسيحي.
My name is Tawfi Habash. I'm from Jerusalem. I'm Palestinian. I'm Catholic. It is a special grace from God to be a Christian and to live in the Holy Land. It is a mission and a responsibility. I hope that every Christian, every Catholic, may have the opportunity to experience, at least once in their lives, what we live here.
Thomas Makowski, komme aus Mainz in Deutschland.
My name is Thomas Makowski, and I'm from Mainz, Germany. It was a great experience to come here and celebrate Mass with Christians from all over the world, in the place where Jesus ascended into heaven.
Ein erfüllendes Erlebnis.
Und ich bin sehr glücklich.
I'm happy to be in this holy place and to have the opportunity to pray during this Eucharist.
Je m'appelle Eva, je suis française.
My name is Eva, and I'm French. There are many things that we should do in order to act as Christ told us, speaking one language and bringing the language of love and charity to the world. As Father Dobromir has said, it is important to be here in order to bring this answer to the world.
Pour se répandre dans le monde après.
A week of celebrations are taking place in Jerusalem in preparation for the canonization ceremony of the next two Palestinian saints, Mary Alphonsine Ghattas and Mariam Bawardi, in Rome on Sunday, May the 17th. Pope Francis reminds us that miracles still happen today, but in order to allow the Lord to work them, we need to pray boldly, and we need to be able to overcome that slight disbelief that dwells in the heart of every man, even men of faith. And The miracles required by the Catholic Church for the canonization did in fact take place.
Questo bimbo aveva della Sicilia, aveva già sofferto un mese in utero, nasce e apparentemente...
This child from Sicily had already suffered for a month in the womb. He was born and was apparently doing well, but the grandmother realized that his nails were becoming black, and so were his hands and feet, and then she understood that something was wrong. They called doctors, but they did not really understand what was happening to this child. It is a very rare condition, and so the child was sent from one hospital to another, 4 hospitals in all, until finally a doctor understood what the child's problem was. At that point, after 3.5 days, the child was dying.
Intuisce qual è il problema del bambino. Il bambino ormai è morente, dopo 3 giorni e mezzo. Dove sta il miracolo?
Where can we see the miracle? Not in the fact that he got operated on. This is a human intervention. But the miracle lies in the fact that in spite of his condition, even though he did not receive oxygen in his blood for 3.5 days, he did not die.
بالمستشفى انه قعدت انا يومين يعني من يوم الجمعه ليوم الاحد طبعا كنت في غيبوبه تامه فقعدت بالغرفه غاد يومين اللي بذكره انا انه طبعا
I was in the intensive care unit from Friday until Sunday. I was in that room for 2 days, but I do not remember anything. No one expected that I would wake up on Sunday morning because I had been given drugs that would keep me anesthetized until the evening or Monday morning. I remember I woke up suddenly and I heard the noise coming from the equipment. At first I did not know what was going on. I had tubes in my mouth and so I unconsciously disconnected them all because they were bothering me.
الأولى أنت بتعرفش شو بصير معك يعني فبعدين كان في كتير نباريج اللي هي بتتم للشو اسمه فأنا يعني لا إراديا إنه زحتن كلن كان يعني يبدو إنه جسمي يعني إنه أنا صحيت فهاي صارت تضايقني فزحتن. بعد ما فقت وكذا انه عن جد في كتير ناس يعني اللي سمعت بالقصه وهيك انه في كتير ناس صلت منهن كمان يعني راهبات الورديه اللي كانت وقتها يعني التوقيت انه تطويب سير ماري ألفونسين وكانوا انهن هن يصلوا كل الجمعه يعني انه يصير إشي مع حدا او انه فكمان انك تسمع انه في ناس كانت تصلي.
I found out that many people were aware of my accident, and among these were the Sisters of the Rosary, and on the very days of the beatification of Mary Alphonsine, they had prayed all week that something would happen. Knowing that people I did not know were praying for me is something that brings me so much joy, and all of this leads me to say that someone really intervened. Now I'm back at work, thank God. This is a good thing. What makes me happy in this story is that Mary Alphonsine will be canonized. I didn't know about her before, but knowing that so many people prayed for me during her beatification gives me so much joy. I pray and ask for her intercession. While in Turin, Italy, the Holy Shroud is being exposed, in the Holy Land, the Notre Dame-centered Pontifical Institute of Jerusalem houses a permanent exhibition dedicated to the sacred cloth. The project began almost a decade ago, following the donation of a sculpture that brings a 3D dimension to the man of the shroud.
Professor Luigi De Mattei hizo una escultura.
Professor Luigi De Mattei made a sculpture taking the image of the Holy Shroud, and he reproduced it in the form of a very beautiful bronze sculpture. They told me, "Father, a bronze sculpture will come here, a copy of the Holy Shroud, and it will remain in Jerusalem." So we started to figure out how to make an exhibition around the sculpture and the theme of the Holy Shroud.
Cómo hacer una exposición en torno a la escultura, en torno al tema de la sábana santa.
The heart of the exhibition is certainly the reproduction of the shroud, enclosed in a glass case, along with reproductions of whips and scourges from the Roman era, an example of the crown of thorns, explanatory tables and studies on the cloth and the man of the shroud.
Yo creo que ofrece a los peregrinos una dimensión.
I think it offers pilgrims a very real and tangible dimension to the person of Christ. When I think of a person or an important president, I think of them in the abstract. But when people say to me, "Look, this is what the crown of thorns placed on Jesus' head was like. This is what the nails used in Jesus' hands and feet were like."
Que estuvo en la cabeza de Jesús. Y estos son los clavos, así eran los clavos que clavaron
All of this helps people to almost see the person of Jesus Christ our Lord, and it arouses a great love, a great compassion for Jesus and for his passion.
Y suscita un grande amor, una grande piedad, una grande compasión por Jesús en su pasión.
We are in a time of images where TV culture is linked to movies, so people want to see what happened in the past. There exists an approximate scientific certainty that these images likely correspond to the man of the shroud. Some objects from Jerusalem were also sent to Turin for the 2015 Exposition, within the context of the project for the future Terra Sancta Museum, run by the Pro Terra Sancta Association on behalf of the Franciscan custody. 3 lacrimatories and a lamp dating back to Jesus' time, found in the archaeological excavations on the Mount of Olives, can be seen at the exhibit. The shroud's link with Jerusalem is clear and constant. The permanent exhibition at the Notre Dame Center helps people better understand its meaning.
Todas esas coincidencias de todos esos datos científicos.
All of the coincidences and all of the scientific hypotheses confirm that the Holy Shroud is the cloth that wrapped Jesus' body. Well, this took place in Jerusalem. He wrapped him inside the tomb, within the Basilica of the Holy Sepulchre that we venerate today.
Questa esposizione riceve soprattutto I pellegrini che vengono qui.
This exhibition especially welcomes pilgrims who come to Jerusalem in groups. When they arrive in Jerusalem, they want to walk along the Via Dolorosa to Golgotha and then go to Jesus' empty tomb. So really, an exhibition of the Shroud here in Jerusalem is a truly rich and full experience of the encounter with Jesus.
Che completa l'esperienza dell'incontro con Gesù.
An agreement between the Palestinian scientist Mazen Kumsieh and Peter Bray, Vice-Chancellor of the University of Bethlehem, has led to the creation of a natural history museum in Palestine. Kumsieh and his wife have made a substantial donation, while the university has provided the venue and contributed to the infrastructure. The establishment of the museum was Mazen Kumsieh's dream. After a successful stint at various American universities, he returned home and gathered a group of volunteers to help record and research the local Palestinian wildlife. The museum was also the wish of the ecology scientist Sana Atala, who discovered many animals in the Palestinian landscape. Sadly, though, his project was interrupted when, on a business trip to Iran, he lost his life in a tragic car accident. Research, education and protection of the environment. These are the 3 main sections. But in the meantime, we are focusing on research, because without research, we cannot teach about, nor can we protect the environment. We need to know what there is in the Palestinian environment, or what needs to be protected, and what the dangers are. An example of what we do is studying the effects of Israeli industrial settlements on human health and on the environment. We also do research on various topics, such as the decline of biodiversity, etc. Therefore, research comes first, then comes the teaching in the schools. We also have a science festival. The garden we have is made up of original plants, and there are insects and animals in it. We should not consider them assets of the museum, because this is a natural oasis in Bethlehem that visitors will be able to see when the museum opens permanently. This section is like a small exhibition, where we place all of the samples we have collected during various trips. There are snakes, scorpions, lizards, and insects such as butterflies, beetles, animal fossils, or taxidermied animals, like these taxidermied birds here. The museum is located in the St. Andrew's building at the University of Bethlehem, surrounded by an area of 12,000 square meters. The volunteers have been working in recent months to turn it into a garden with facilities for the museum, including a pool for aquatic animals. After a month and a half of volunteering, I became very fond of butterflies, and so I began studying them. We are now publishing research on various types of butterflies in Palestine.
البركة الفكرة منها إنه يكون عندنا هون زي نظام بيئي ecosystem.
The idea behind the pool is to have a complete ecosystem like any other, so that we can have a lively variety of animals, insects and even plants that can live around the pool and that we can use. When we created this pool, we put there specimens from several places in Palestine. We built a water channel in order to plant some Palestinian plants and create a natural Palestinian environment.
سوينا قناة برضو اللي نقدر نزرع نباتات برضو أصلها فلسطيني كله.
In a short time, the museum has made contacts with environmental researchers from around the world and also with museums of the same type. Its importance lies not so much in the fact that it is the first of its kind in Palestine, but rather because it is a pioneer project in the region, as there are neighboring states that do not have museums like this. Collaboration is very important. Scientific discoveries are not made alone, but together. This is a key part of our strategy, which is also expressed in our respect for others and in our teamwork. In Genesis it is written, God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work he had done in creation. He rested in the original Hebrew is Shabbat, and from this comes the word Sabbath. So for 5 millennia, Jews have been resting on the Sabbath. This rest allows you to engage with time. The Sabbath is time, to the eternity of the Sabbath, to the eternity of creation. And this is also the mystery of the existence of the Jewish people that have been saved for millennia, even during the diaspora. Rest means not using means of transportation, not handling money, not traveling. So in almost all Israeli cities, public transportation does not circulate on Saturday, which can lead to inconveniences for part of the population. Some citizens, in order to overcome this problem, founded a co-op in Jerusalem that allows members to use a minibus called Shabbos, a combination of the words Shabbat and bus.
A little over a year ago, a woman who lives nearby here came to talk to me, and she's very frustrated because she doesn't have a car, and she's, it's very expensive to get to the center of town by taxi. So we talked about a few different solutions, and then I talked with a friend of mine who's a lawyer who deals with cooperatives, and she said maybe we could organize a cooperative to deal with it. And then that's what we did. I got together a bunch of friends, and it's a great group of people.
But this is my only option to move around in the city during weekend. If I want to go to visit somebody during weekend or a holiday, I have to take a special cab, which costs quite a few money.
In a city in which religious Jews represent a significant portion of the population, the very existence of this service has created some controversy.
Ci sono, due problemi. Uno di carattere di halakha. Halakha sarebbe la legge ebraica,
There are two problems. One relates to halakha, which is the Jewish law, and another problem is linked to the usefulness that this Shabbos has for the non-Jewish citizens, like tourists or other Arab or Christian minorities living in Jerusalem. As for the halakha, it must be said that the project is hard to implement, as it involves things like the use of the money that is prohibited on Saturday. On the other hand, my opinion is that the Shabbos could be especially useful for Jews themselves, who may need transportation for reasons of mitzvah. In other words, for Jews going to visit the sick or distant relatives. For these reasons, there might be greater tolerance.
Per ebrei lo stesso, che magari si muovono per motivi di mitzvah, cioè che magari vanno a visitare i malati, oppure devono trovare i parenti lontani. Per questi motivi ci potrebbe essere magari una maggiore tolleranza.
There are many religious people that support us because there's no prohibition on driving on Saturday. There's a prohibition on public transportation. But if people want to drive, it's better that there be a bus and it be orderly and or minibus.
This bus is fantastic because I don't have a car. I can never go anywhere on Shabbat except for where I can walk. And I have 3 children, as you can see, and we can't walk very, very far. And so this bus is the only way that we can go out at all on Shabbat. I hope it expands. I hope that we can go to the beach on Saturday.
Now we're going to friends. I'll probably use it in the future to go out parties or meet friends, things like that. And I think it's really great. I've been living in Jerusalem for quite a while, for I think 7 or 8 years. And this is the first time that there's any type of really useful public transportation in the weekend. So it's quite revolutionary and I really hope that it works.
here to tell you about the Holy Land, to raise awareness and visibility of the Mother Church of Jerusalem, local Christians, and holy places. We are here to tell so many forgotten stories of daily efforts, courage, and faith. We are here to promote hope in the land of God. Support those who give a voice to custody of the Holy Land's work.